Top of the show. Happy Veterans Day.
It is.
Somebody made a comment. Oh, why isn't it on Monday so we could have a 3-day weekend? And then there's a reason for that. World War I ended on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month.
Oh.
So that's why it's always 11/11.
I did not know that. Awesome.
And I never went to school on my birthday all through grade school. I went to school on my birthday the first time in college. It was
because that's also a holiday.
Because it's also a holiday, which you would think would be good. It's like you never go to work, right? You never have to go to school on your birthday. But at school, your birthday is the best day, man. Like there's a cake, everybody singing. You're the belle of the ball. It was always like
today your birthday.
So, yeah, I was just gonna say today's your birthday. Happy birthday!
You guys are regular Sherlock Holmes. I got to be honest with you guys.
How do we not even know that? How do we not put that in the title?
Because your birthday is the biggest day for you, and then it's the most popular day on you're the most popular person on Facebook that day.
All right, so today is Jimmy's birthday. Jimmy runs the show. Yeah. What are the topics?
How is Kim Kardashian? What does Kim Kardashian have to do with Mars? You've got to help me out with this.
Also, let me float another potential topic just to tease for the audience. We have a patient that late canceled a couple times, so we charged them the $350 cancellation fee because they signed 2 simple pages. And on the second page, it says very clearly in size 12 font, not in small font, not in caps, buried in Apple's terms and conditions that you scroll 50 times. 2 simple pages. They signed it. And the patient is threatening me. We can make this right, or we can go down a different route, Dave. And I just want to don't say anything else. Let's go back to the Kim Kardashian thing. But you guys know me well. And I would love for the audience to consider how do I respond? Do I respond? How did Dave Kittle respond? Does he go nice? Does he go scorched earth? What does he do? So anyway, that's a teaser. Let's go back to the top of the show.
WWDD. What would Dave do?
All right, so on the way in this morning, as usual, I'm researching topics. I'm talking to people being ChatGPT, and I'm like, hey, what's new? What's going on? I was researching Hinge. I was researching Sword. Somebody had posted in one of the Facebook groups about how those companies are getting paid. I don't know how this came up. Something came up about Kim Kardashian failing the California bar exam. And so I was like, I didn't even know she wanted to be a lawyer. I have no idea what's going on. Turns out in California, one of the few states that you don't actually have to go to law school to take the bar exam and become a lawyer.
That's
crazy.
So
I'm like, wait, what? And so you can research it. It's these regulations. It's like 4 years. You have to spend 18 hours a week in a judge's chamber or in an attorney's office going through this. You have to take tests along the way. I'm like, why in the world is our profession not, you want to fight for something, fight for that. Get it out of the universities, get it out of the $150,000, $200,000 in debt, put it into a real clinic where let somebody learn how to be a therapist by being a therapist, being around therapists, working with therapists, learning from therapists.
Did Tony freeze?
Yeah, he's making a good point. I was going to jump in right after that, which is this is the model where I think Tony's going. If you want to become an electrician, if you want to become a plumber, I'm going out on a limb and assuming this is what you have to do to become a carpenter. But if you want to be in one of the unions, you go through this process where you're sort of the grunt, but all the duties that you're doing, you're constantly surrounded by the people who know how to do the thing. And in X number of years, you get the thing. It's the weed in, weed out process.
Yeah, I mean, what about the risk, though? I mean, okay, there's minimal to no risk if I'm hearing a little echo there. If Kim Kardashian is trying to be a lawyer and pass a bar exam without going through law school, what's the worst case scenario? Like if you're a lawyer, you're not gonna really hurt anyone. You have no one's life is at stake. But going through physical therapy school,
Well,
isn't it
hold on,
important
hold on.
to learn vital signs?
You might be being sued by that guy that we're going to talk to in a minute. So you might want to have the lawyers to have like
Maybe,
some knowledge, some knowledge.
but that is a side effect of a lot of volume of patients and years and all that. My point is you're not, no one's life is at stake if you're Kim Kardashian and then you're going to go do whatever law because she's got no day job and she just is bored or whatever. With physical therapy, we're learning vital signs. We're learning things over years, not months, but over years on when to refer out. Is there a potential? Is it potentially caught Aquinas syndrome? Do we need to refer them to a back surgeon in 24 to 48 hours? Is it actually a spinal cord, central cord, syndrome? Is that going on, or is the patient? Do they need an ambulance called? Do they, or is it just like they had syncope and they just, fainted or whatever? So I understand what Tony's saying. He wants less regulation. He wants less of the bureaucracy, less all of that. But it's like, but isn't it a good thing to go through all this stuff to learn vital signs, to learn the big risks of when someone needs to go to the emergency room versus urgent care versus just, put some tape on it?
No, this is the problem. This is the problem that society at large faces, is you're under the belief that the university is going to teach you those things. It's absurd. Like, as much as the rest of us. You learn in the clinic. You learn in your rotations. You learn under mentorship. If I want to catch somebody who's having an episode, I need to see real people who are having episodes. 20 kids in a classroom working on each other are never going to learn that stuff, and we're not going to learn it out of a book. Like, the model is dead. The old school model of go to the university, learn. I respect my professors when I went to PT school, but they did not teach me a single thing that I didn't learn better in the clinic. And so all we're doing in the university is putting a ton of debt on a bunch of kids, giving them false pretense they have all of this clinical knowledge that they really could have gotten quicker, better in the clinic, And so, okay, so if we go that route and we say, well, what if we just do a divide and we say, hey, we see the push for primary care, physical therapy. We see the push that we want to go in that direction. You guys go get the university degree. If I just want to be a clinician who treats patients and loves what I do, let me go the mentorship route. Doesn't mean you can't do the other way. Like, there are still legal schools. You can still go to California and get into a university and become a lawyer that way. But give me another option. That's all I'm saying. And thank you, Kim Kardashian, for saving the PT world.
She breaks the internet again. I just saw her on something. It had to do with space, didn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, she was on the news talking about identifying an object as the moon, or it turned out to be a comet, or maybe I had those two things flipped. And then there was a debate about aliens. So we went from Kim Kardashian saving physical therapy to Kim Kardashian and aliens real quick.
I also don't want to go and badger the whole thing about like school and licensure and that whole thing, because we hit that before. But it's got to be funny, Tony, because it goes against your argument, because she has actually failed the bar many times. She tries to keep it private somehow. I don't know if it's TMZ or whoever, pulls it up. Kim Kardashian has failed the California bar exam many times. I think she's been trying to be licensed or whatever. She's been trying to pass it for years. And it's like this, mini Hollywood joke. No one really cares about it, but like, she's failed it many times and we're still talking about it. But this has been for years now and she still cannot pass it. So it's actually funny and goes against Tony's argument that, man, I don't know. If she actually went through the core curriculum and went through law school, maybe more people would be likely to pass the bar exam. But again, that's another topic we hit before.
So just real quick on that, though, and this is the thing, we have checks and balances, right? Like, if you're going to give me a board exam, don't have a requirement for education. Let me go take the board exam. If I pass the board, then let me be an attorney. Let me be a physical therapist. Let me be whatever. I know at least two, one worked for me and one didn't, therapists who never passed the board or failed multiple times, and they were amazing clinicians. Like, so yeah, we can go, give me one or the other. Don't give me both. Don't straddle me with $200,000 of debt and make me pass the board exam. If this is the criteria, let me get there however I think is best to get there.
So no med school, no residency or fellowship. Just the next time your son gets hurt with the wrist or elbow, whatever happened recently with football, we'll just go to the urgent care, but it's a non-accredited, no education urgent care. It's kind of like, we're gonna just
either or.
We're gonna chat GPT urgent care your son.
Either or both. If I've got multiple doctors in the family, they didn't learn anything in med school. They learned it during clinicals. They learned it during rotations. They learned it with real patients in front of them. I'm not saying don't do any of it. I'm saying we have more options available. If a person wants to spend 10 years working under a doctor, they're probably going to be a better physician than somebody who just does clinical stuff in the university and doesn't go out there and actually see patients.
What I really want to get to is, are we going to talk about what Jimmy was saying yesterday? There was a ton of messages that I missed. Are you mentioning that, Jimmy, publicly, that big thing?
I was going to mention where I was last week. I'm getting a picture. I'm getting a picture together to supplement it. I mean, this to me feels like an idea that we could do, that I've done with this particular organization. I'm trying to stall as I upload the picture. I thought it was a good use of time. They thought it was a good use of time last year. So this is what I spent the last couple of days doing. I shot a man in Reno. Anybody reference? Huh? Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Whatever, guys. Anyway, so I was out at the AOMT conference. This is the American Association of Orthopedic Manual Physical Therapists. Great group of people. I wasn't necessarily a member when I was a clinician. It wasn't really my thing, but been sort of welcomed in, right? And they hired me a couple of years ago. They said, hey, we need a podcast. Essentially, their pitch was, there's so many people spreading negativity about manual therapy online, and we're the manual therapy people. What do we do about it? And these are smart people. They weren't being like, this was the broad strokes. And essentially, I was like, well, what are you going to do about it? Like, they probably listened to me rant a few times. And they were like, well, we need to do this and this and this. And I said, great. Well, who from your organization can do those things, likes doing those things, is good at those things, and will be doing those things 3 to 6 weeks from now? Never mind 3 to 6 months from now. And they were honest. And they were like, nobody. Like, everybody's going to do a one-off video and then rant on Twitter, post something in a Facebook group and run away. So I said, you need a coordinated strategy. So they hired me 2 years ago to sort of launch their podcast, which is called Hands On, Hands Off. And essentially, it's just super smart manual therapists talking about super smart manual therapy things. I will jump in and help host an episode if need be. But what I did was I went up teaching their clinicians, people on their team who raised their hand and said, I'll do this, teach them how to do it. But then we do this sprint once a year where they fly me to their conference. And it really does take a lot to get Jimmy to convince me to fly to your conference. I'm a conference person. I love it. The energy, they're usually in good spots. I was in Reno for the first time. I was up $125. I was down more than $125 because there's casinos. But the idea here was they flew myself and my buddy Drew, who's a videographer, in, and we recorded 26 podcast episodes in 2 days. And it might not sound like a lot, but if you've recorded 3 podcast episodes in a row, 26 is a lot. So I did about 12 the first day and 15 the next day. And this is what it looked like. I mean, it wasn't a terribly elaborate setup. We did have the videographer on hand. So Drew was there to make sure the cameras were pointing in the right direction and the lighting was good and everything looked sweet. But essentially 26 episodes. I'm no mathematician. We just handed them half a year's worth of content in 2 days. Is that worth it? In my opinion, I mean, I'll wax poetic, but that's what we did. My assumption is more people will be doing this in the future, both doing this type of sprint and hiring and finding people who can create this content at scale. So thoughts on a sprint like that?
I love it. I mean, it's a page out of the book of like the hackathons and Google and so many where you put this focused effort on just producing a ton of content, a ton of work. Did Drew bring the equipment? Because I saw that photo and I was like, this is awesome. I can't believe they have a setup like this
Yeah.
at a conference like that.
So Drew brought all of his video equipment. I brought my sort of radio station in a box, the microphones, everything. I brought audio. Drew brought video and photo. So then, of course, I took out the little itty bitty mic that connects to the phone. And when everybody was at the party, I was pulling people one at a time and just asking them like 3 or 4 questions that we'll chop it up later. But essentially, this is just a content creation blitz that you can use the stuff that we've recorded whenever for the rest of the year. I very, very, very much tried to go out of my way of not starting the episodes off or leading people into a direction of how's the conference going? Because I don't want someone talking about the conference that was in November in July, because that's sort of where the end of these episodes will come out. This really was about their work, what they were presenting on. So they got me in touch with a lot of speakers, a lot of leaders in manual therapy. They know their people. I said, you bring me the people that you think have something to say. I pre-screened them, so I wasn't winging it, giving away all my secrets, pre-screened them. So I had 80% of the conversations sort of lined up like an evaluation. I sort of know, oh, this isn't neat. But every once in a while, we got to pivot and got in some really weird nooks and crannies of things. So hopefully they got enough audio, video, short form, long form, medium form content to last them at least half a year.
I want to just double click on that because it's genius that you didn't want to lead the interviewee on, hey, how's this conference going and what are your thoughts and isn't it nice, or what's the biggest thing that your surprise or your takeaway from the conference, whatever. You made it almost like evergreen, so that, like you said, you can post this in what February or next July or whatever.
Yep.
Like you can repost this and it's not going to bring the audience back to this most recent conference that was in person, but anyone that's listening digitally in the future will be like, it'll be a better episode for that audience member, and it won't be like, oh, it's this conference that I don't even know what they're talking about, so I'm going to just skip this episode.
There is just something like, Dave, you love baseball. I love baseball. I love hockey. But if I know the game's 2 days old, I'm not watching.
Forget it. It's over. Forget it. There's nothing to talk about.
I can't. Like, even if it was a great game, show me the highlights, but moving on. If it's live, there is something with our brains that knowing that it's live makes the thing. Now, next step is convincing them to live stream. And this is something that we've talked about with an event that's going on this week, which is PPS. I really think next year, what we should start doing is on Monday, we should start like banging on the walls for someone to pay for us to come to PPS, live stream, right? Get us a booth. Then we need a Wi-Fi connection. We'll bring a guy like Drew. He'll handle it. But isn't that where you want to be, right? I don't know.
I just don't understand. Like, I know you're not pitching this, but how is it that you don't already have 4 of these events a year, paying $25,000 per event to have you and Drew there doing this, then smaller state and local events paying $5,000 to $10,000 per event.
Jimmy loves to fly and loves to do it. It makes sense.
I do.
It's crazy to me, but like this is just like any of us treating a patient in the clinic. We know what the patient needs. We hear what the patient wants. We give them the plan, the roadmap, the strategy to get there, and they refuse to do it. No matter how easy we make it for them, they will not do it. This is what we are seeing globally across the profession. Like, we know the strategy.
The funniest part is, by the time it's just like a bell curve, by the time most people catch up and need it, the cost will have ballooned, and the cost to do it will have ballooned, and the cost to penetrate even 1/100th of the market will now be quadrupled down. This is why when Gary Vee was on his original YouTube stream, and I don't even think I was watching that, but the people that watched were like, can't sell wine online, AdWords, that doesn't make any sense. But he was able to see around the corner. It's what Guy Kawasaki, who's a big thinker dude, he's like, you need to be a paradigm jumper. You can't just be like, well, I'm going to start a podcast and a YouTube channel, and I'm going to do it twice a week, not once a week. That's not a paradigm jump. Right? Paradigm jumping is I'm going to do it daily. Someone's going to hold my feet to the fire and I'm going to do this thing daily, or whatever the next thing is. The funny part is I'm actually doing this thing. So like, this is like not really my big unveil, but I think I was sharing some things in the chat with you guys, which is my next unveil is this thing. I just called it Ignite Lab. I thought about it for 10 minutes on ChatGPT. I decided this is my next venture. I didn't want to call it like PT Pintcast like media, which I've done before. I sort of wanted to wash that off and be like, hey, by the way, like outside of being a podcast host and the guy that like drinking beer and talking PT, like I ran radio stations too, like I created campaigns for companies online. I'm pretty good at most of the things. I'm pretty good at some of the things. I know what I'm not good at. I'm going to hire out. So essentially, Ignite Lab, I'm being super focused. So here's me pitching the idea to you guys, and then I want to see your thoughts. So Ignite Lab will do exactly what I'm doing for AOMT for other organizations. I want it to be for organizations first because I'd rather charge companies than people. Especially small
the ones that may have a bigger budget but has a longer sales cycle and more decision makers to say yes to you.
And
I mean, there's pros and cons.
Well, yes and no. Like so I know how state associations and APTA academies and sections work. It's a board. If you get the board to say yes, if you really convince them, right? If you get past that goalie, they commit. But they can absorb a cost like hiring me to do their content ongoing and then come out once or twice or 3 times a year to do sprints like this. And they have an offer. If you did this for a PT clinic, I think it would have to be big enough, right, to see how many because Dave, your first question is like, well, how many patients is this going to get me? How long is it going to take for me to pay this back, right, as a clinic? But an association can measure like membership retention, membership growth, or non-dues revenue. Those are the 3 big, hairy, scary problems for those organizations. You can measure that over a year or 5 years. Plus, they already have a base. Like, they've got an audience. Like, I helped APTA Orthopedics grow, and, like, we were watching their YouTube membership climb, and I'm like, you do realize you have 18,000 members and you have 2,000 people subscribe to your YouTube channel. Like, let's start with the people within APTA Orthopedics. Like, what if we just hit them with emails every week to, like, join your own YouTube channel? And so the low-hanging fruit is out there. So I wanted to start with that. Plus, I think they have great missions. Like, I think they have great missions. They aspire to do great things. And the final thing I'll add before I hear both of your ideas on this or your feelings and thoughts and emotions is 5 years ago, I really needed to try hard to convince someone like an APTA state chapter or academy or a section to launch a podcast. I don't think I need to do that anymore in 2025. I think everyone's sort of at the point where they're like, yeah, I really should, be doing this. I really should be going to the gym 3 times a week. I guess. All right. I'm going to hire you. You're going to do it. Okay. So I think 5 years ago, I was Jimmy ranting and raving about needing to communicate. I think in 2025, I don't need to do that anymore. Now, this is where I got the idea. I was sitting here at my kitchen. I was listening to something down the street, and it was some dude mowing my neighbor's lawn. And my neighbor has a lawnmower. And lawn mowing is not rocket surgery. It's not like he's got some special machine. In fact, he's just got the cool one that's, the zero turn that looks like a spaceship. And I was like, well, why isn't my neighbor doing it? And I didn't need to ask him. He's not doing it because he doesn't freaking want to, or he doesn't have time. Or he said, you know what? The juice versus squeeze in someone else mowing my lawn is worth whatever you pay that guy. And so you don't pay him to mow your lawn. You pay him so you don't have to mow your lawn. And that's when I said, why am I trying to overcomplicate this? People know they need to create content in 2025. They can buy their own lawnmowers. In fact, they have their own lawnmowers in their hands right now. So why aren't they doing it? Because they don't freaking want to. So I'm gonna go the stupidly simple route. I'm gonna do it because you need it done, and you don't want to do it, or you can't do it, or no one on your staff's going to continue to do it. So I'm going to do it better than you. There's my offer.
Dave, go first, and then I want to say something.
Well, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't have a clear pitch. Like, I know you're going to do the thing with, like the conference, right? So you're going to post up in New York City, and then you're going to invite me and other practices, and we pay whatever. Like, I don't understand. Like, what am I getting? What am I paying? What's the pitch here?
Let me give you the pitch. All right, hang on.
You got a slide deck?
So I got a little bit. I drank a bottle of wine yesterday. I had a day. Listen, all I'll say is Jimmy had a long day yesterday. Just got back from Reno. Was a little jet lagged. We'll talk about some other stuff later, but I had a long day yesterday.
That was when you were messaging us. Now it all makes sense. Okay.
Jimmy gets drunk and messages his. Jimmy gets drunk and messages his podcast goes. So, but I was like, let's make something. So I got the dry erase board out and I said, what's what? I started thinking like Chris Corner, who, by the way, we should drop a link in the show notes. You should watch. It doesn't, his podcasts and YouTube don't make any sense, but they make complete sense. He's brilliant, but he's also not brilliant. And he'd be the first person to tell you he's not brilliant. He's just stupidly simple. And he says those phrases, stupidly simple. So this is Ignite Lab. Okay. Here's the problem. I'm going to focus on associations. So most associations do great work that too few people see. Attention is fragmented, internal capacity is thin, and value is hard to prove. Now, this is for APTA sections and academies, but most associations, it's in the ether. 30 years ago, your APTA newsletter was the only way you found out about stuff. And now it's not. So how do you stay relevant and as an association? You need a system. You need to make sure that something gets done. So that's the problem. And you know this. I do not need to convince associations of slipping numbers or reduction in non-dues revenue. As soon as I mention this, I look like a genius because they all have the same three problems. We need new members. We need to keep our members. We need money outside of membership dollars. So I lay this problem out. So here's the solution. This is us. I've been doing it for 15 years. This is the slide where I get to brag. Hey, this is me. I've been doing it for 15 years in radio, 10 years as a podcaster, which is a little bit disturbing. So the services that we offer, here's the menu. How do I get this? There we go. Pretty much what you're going to get is 3 different options. And this is not just going to be me coming out to your conference. That's an add-on, Tony, right? That should be an add-on, me coming out to your conference. What you'll get is done for you video, audio, and social clips every single month. I'm not just giving you the apps to do it. I'm going to be essentially your communications director. But you can't hire me because I'm too expensive if you're a professional association. I'm your fractional content director. You hire me, I work with you, and I work with 10 other people who are sort of similar and just like you. We come in, we meet monthly or quarterly, depending on what level you pick. We map out the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months. And then I sort of become project manager and help you. I help your staff become hosts. How do you host an interview? Why would you do a webinar? How do you get things out of a webinar in terms of members or people to follow up with? So I become your fractional content manager, content director, VP of content. And I slide in and I do it for you. So it's not the to-do list. It's the to-done list. It's done. And then it gets posted and you get to bask in the awesomeness that is your content. Listen, they hire people to clean the office, to mow the lawns. Content is something that needs to be done in 2025. If you're not doing it at scale, you will be ignored, and in 5 years, you won't exist. There's my pitch.
Dave?
I love it. I don't see anything with it. I would love for you to. Do you have so I still use Stripe. I don't even care about whatever there might be a cheaper, maybe Intuit or whatever is like a better, cheaper, lower rate of a credit card processor. I know that you've had a lot of projects over the years, Jimmy, but you haven't gone and done your own thing. Do you have a credit card processor?
I have QuickBooks that I can do that through. That's through Intuit.
There we go. So I think you should maybe pitch this to some owners.
I pitched it yesterday.
And whatever the price is, like, can you swipe some credit cards? That would be like.
But hold on a second.
That would be a good start.
Dave, I've thought you would be for this for academies and association groups, right? APTA or
I personally wouldn't just be, you know them better. I don't want to go, they have a budget. Yes, pros and cons, they have a budget, but then they have a committee where they're like, we must meet and we must decide and vote. And I second the vote. And
I agree. But hold on. So I already pitched it yesterday. I got halfway through the pitch, and I'm not going to say who it was because she cannot say no. She cannot say yes or no. She's a member of the board. I got halfway through the pitch, and she stopped me, and she's like, can you pitch this in 2 weeks? And I said, I can pitch it in 12 minutes.
In 2 weeks? That like kick the can down the road.
Oh, yeah. No, that's when the board.
Hello.
But I know how boards work. I know how these associations work. So that's fast. So I'm not
exactly. It's slow.
But hold on a second. Yeah, it's slow, but it's big. You get in. I mean, I've been doing with AMP for 2.5 years. So
it could be bigly.
Bigly. It could be bigly. So Paul's saying, why not both? I am not disagreeing to both, but this is where I wanted to flip the question. See, do you think clinics would want this?
Yes, I mean, I just realized like I have a ton of these random Tony Maritato clips in my phone from other patients over
But
the
you're just
years, and
not
I'm trying to
sharing
put
it.
them out. And then sometimes I'll put it out. Like last night, I posted one and I forgot the captions. Like, oh, let me, should I delete it? I forgot the captions. Then I repost it, and then it had no description. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just want to outsource this. Like I do, I really do want to outsource this. But then I got the clips in my phone, and I got to put them in a Google Drive. So I do want to outsource this. Yes, I'm interested, but
Okay.
uh, I'm just more of, I'm from the elk where I like to just go right to the decision maker if I can. That's all.
Okay. So I'm with Paul that why not both?
Shout out
Paul is
Paul. Thank
saying
you
all
for
day.
joining in live.
Paul is saying
David
all day.
Rubin,
All right. So
all day,
yeah,
baby.
I mean, I'm still like stronger, faster, clinic like, wow, really? See, maybe, I guess so. I mean, I've done things with I've done things with ATI before. ATI saw value in this at CSM 2 years ago. They were like, you're going to come to our booth and you're going to just interview our people and a bunch of random people, but our booth. They like gave me like a corner of their booth and I was able to put lights and cameras in it. And they were like, this is great. And then just say thanks ATI every episode. I was like, this is great. But when I approached big organizations like this later, big clinics, I mean, they were like, well, we already have our own department and they're doing it. And then I would look up what they were doing and no knock. My guess was nobody was in charge of organic. Everybody, and the stuff that you see big companies do is so watered down and so safe. This is where I pulled the Tony Maritato move the other day. And I LinkedIn posted at Josh Funk from Rehab to Perform, but I tagged the guy on their website that I'd never heard of before. But according to their website, he's the guy in charge of marketing and communications. I was like, I do Josh, I like a lot. I want to talk to that dude though, because that guy's in charge of it. He's designing it. So that guy got me excited. So anyway, that's what I did yesterday. I drank a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc and made a pitch deck. I don't know if that's what normal people do, but that's what I did. Well, yeah, David,
I see this. By the way, David Ruin, he is of my generation. He is like no credit card, check, or EFT.
What is EFT? What is EFT?
Electronic funds transfer.
Electronic funds transfer.
Oh,
Yeah.
like a
account.
Yeah. Okay.
Wire transfer.
Jimmy will not be, as Jimmy's independent advisor, he will not be accepting paper checks for this endeavor. Credit cards or ACH is what we call it now.
I want paid in gold doubloon, and Dave wants
Bitcoin.
Dave wants. Yeah. So we've got two tracks here. You've got the long game, which is going to be slow but higher budget. Those are your associations. It's going to take weeks and months to get them on board, but like you said, they have money in the accounts. And then you have your quick, like, yes, cash today. Small, medium practice owner, they see the value, they're already doing it, they're already spending money on it. Those are the people that would send over the money and book your flight. We've been saying this forever. It's nothing.
I know.
The question always goes back to, like, with the associations. Okay, maybe there's somebody in there who sees the value in it, maybe not. Why are they not already doing it?
Great question.
And the fact that they're not already doing it is what makes me a little bit of resistant to say, you got to find them at like just the right time to where they're ready to do it. They're frustrated. Somebody's going to do it out of anger, out of frustration, more than intelligence, more than, yeah, you're right, Jimmy, you're convincing us this is the right thing for us to do. It's, we're pissed off. We're a dying organization. We need to make a change right now. I don't even care if I lose $10,000. Let's just do it. Like, yeah. That's the decision maker that needs to be there. But on the smaller side, on the private practice, and you have these contacts. I know you have them in your Rolodex, if you guys know what that is.
Rolodex.
So, but those are the ones that you're like, hey, here's the budget. Let's do it. And let's make this happen.
I guess the only reason I was hesitant about clinic is because when I think about clinic marketing, I would want to do a lot of in-person stuff. Like, to me, a clinic is what Tony does and what Dave does, like movement in the clinic. And I was like, is the juice going to be worth the squeeze to fly me to Ohio to do something like this? Whereas an association, it was more webinar, interview, educational based.
So
thought.
so two ways. I mean, you're looking at clinics that are in the $3 to $5 million of revenue, like multiple locations. Yeah, they probably have the budget, and it's worth you flying out there, bringing Drew with you or somebody, and just shooting 12 months of content in a weekend.
Right.
On the smaller side, that's where we've talked about, okay, let's bring them to you, put you in a central
Oh,
location,
yeah.
bring outside people in, shoot a ton of content, do a little
Right.
education. And then, so now we divide it into 3 tiers. We have under $1 million in revenue, who they come to us.
Mm-hmm.
3 to 5 million, 10 million, you go to them. And then you have the organizations on the back end that it's going to take a year to turn the ship around, but maybe
Right.
1 or 2 of them will change direction.
Well, this is the idea. And by the way, the disclaimer is I will have these ideas and I will push other people to do them. And then I will be the last person. I'm the person who needs to take his own advice the most. Like, I'm the person who's like, dude, you barely need to know what you're doing. Just get out there and sell. And then I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've been doing this for, no joke, creating content. I'm using air quotes for 25 years. Like, I've been, and I'm not an expert at all types, but I'm smart enough to know, and I know the people who are better at it than me. Like Drew and I are pretty good at shooting or getting people to do stuff in front of the camera and capturing it. But now I want like a really slick editor to take that footage and turn into really, really viral stuff. Like, I'm going to find a VA or someone who's going to do it online. I'm just going to give them a Google Drive full of content and go make 2 posts a week for the next 52 weeks. Have a great day. Here's your ammo. But this was the idea I had at CSM last year, but I didn't follow up on it because I was nervous that it wouldn't be perfect, which was rent an Airbnb at CSM, because a lot of the $1 million, $3 million or smaller clinicians are there looking for that thing to become the $10 million clinic. I know that they're there because I have drinks with you while we're there. We're at the bar together, right? So rent an Airbnb, fly out a couple days early or stay a couple days late when you're already going to CSM. And then we become a content machine for you and 5 other clinicians for those 2 days. Essentially just doing a media blitz on site at CSM in Los Angeles next year.
Ooh.
I don't know. Should I do that?
Yeah. The answer is going to be yes to everything right now, because nothing is getting in your way. What does that say?
David saying I can, David works, he's a distributor. So like in terms of food chain, like doing the biggest amount of business. I'm saying this for the audience, not for us, but David is saying, shoot content for manufacturers at APTA shows. Yeah. I didn't necessarily think of that. Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's been my focus over the last several months is product companies that are putting, $100,000 budget on Amazon for commissions. Like, these are the hidden opportunities that not enough people are talking about. So like, would they find the value in getting you to generate a bunch of content with a bunch of different therapists? Did we lose Jimmy?
I think we did.
Okay.
So I was just going to pitch Jimmy something else, but now he's not here. So, okay, Tony, I'll say it to you and maybe we could say it to Jimmy later. So I'm actually there's another type of practice owner. So meaning me, where I'm trying to do the content. I have some of the digital assets and I just don't like, I get it. I get like, you got to be consistent. And then I'm like, oh, I kind of nitpick a little bit of like the caption running through ChatGPT, the description of the post. And I don't even know if hashtags work, but we're still doing like 30 hashtags. So a little bit extra steps, but like, I don't like to do it. I know that it's important. So I'm actually at the point of like, maybe I'm a batch of potential customers for Jimmy out there where I'm kind of doing it, but I don't like doing it. Like I like putting it out there. I like it. I know it needs to be out there and I want it out there, but I don't like to actually set it up and hit publish. Like I don't like that part. And so I think that is who would pay for something like this, because for the past couple of weeks, I've been researching like VA companies, virtual assistants, and different companies that'll like publish social media content and all that. And so maybe that's kind of part of the mix here.
So that's where I was trying to define scope, because I could give an association or a company a Google Drive full of videos and clips. I could give them a PDF that goes along with it, that says on this day release video 3 with this caption, all that stuff. And then I go, why the hell am I doing that? Just hire an extra person, get them connected to a social media app like Publer that I use, and then they can schedule a week, a month, a quarter, a year ahead of time. And now when Dave wants to be reactive, he can release a video on Wednesday because he saw a really cool sunrise on Park Avenue. He still knows that Tuesday and Thursday he's got posts going out. That's not the only way he's gaining attention. So my question is, like, how wide do I make the scope? Is it everything, soup to nuts? Or is it modular where it's low, medium, high?
You got Tony. Kicking this to Tony.
So my question before I answer that, like,
Tony, I think you're muted.
I can hear him.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
Dave, can you hear me? Dave can't hear me.
Dave, can you hear me?
I hear Jimmy. I just don't hear Tony.
Oh, I can hear Tony. Keep going.
Okay,
How
keep
weird.
going.
That happened the other day. I don't understand.
Oh, yeah. I was watching you guys live, and I was like, I can hear both of you. I don't know what's going on. I
Yeah.
can hear you. All right. So what are your thoughts? Where should my scope be?
I don't think you can go down that granular. I think there's already companies out there. Like, I'm looking on my computer. David Isles is a guy. He manages a bunch of media content. There's a bunch of companies, agencies out there doing that stuff for individuals and smaller businesses. That's not the world you want to get into.
Right.
Your unique gift is you understand therapy, specifically PT, a little bit of OT. You have connections and deep roots in there. I just don't think you want to get into, I'm going to hire a VA. Everybody that I've seen go the VA route to do editing, it never looks good.
Dude, I tried it for 3 months. It
Yeah.
never went well. It was just always, I had to over explain, then it was done. And then I had to come in and fix. And I was like, at this point, I'd be done already.
So like Dave would be somebody you would do something like that as like a friend to friend favor for.
Right.
But I don't think Dave would be a good representative of the larger market that you would want to focus on. I think that would be a waste.
Why is that?
I think for Jimmy, it would be a waste of his connections and a waste of his talents to go down that small into a single individual. I don't think he wants to build a team. I don't think he wants to get a bunch of employees and videographers and do all that stuff. Like, I feel like the thing for Jimmy is give me a handful of big hits in a year.
Yep.
Like, let me put money in the bank account just so I don't have to think about it. And then let me go and kind of enjoy and do the things that I enjoy doing. I just think getting down that low, this is like what Tony talked about, sports agents.
I'm trying to make it bigger for you. Is that big enough?
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, I don't know. I think that I would stick to that high value client, just like Dave was, Dave does in his practice. Like, if we were to put this as a ratio, I'm seeing people for $100. Dave has seen people for $1,000, a 10-to-1 ratio here. If Dave would be willing to spend $10,000, Jimmy should be focusing on a business that's going to spend $100,000. I just think for where you are, the time you've put in, the smaller individual providers are just not where you're going to get the satisfaction you need.
You're saying those are the ones I would do it like a CSM though, where I could fly Drew in, rent out an Airbnb, be like, okay, day 1, we take the 5 clinicians to the park and we do outside Q&A. Day number 2, we rent out gym space and everybody puts a gym outfit on. And now we talk about pathology things or who you want to treat. I'm off camera pitching to you the question. So you don't have to, self-serve. Everybody knows that batting practice doesn't work when you just get up to the plate, throw the ball to yourself and swing. You need someone pitching at you. And then look, there are still professional photographers doing graduation photos. I know someone who had a mid six figure job who said, I hate this, and became a photographer and is now making more money in her community doing graduation. Now she's the high school and college graduation photo woman, and she crushes it. That's all she does. She says no to wedding. Can you do my wedding? You did my daughter's. No, I don't like doing weddings. And I had to ask my buddy Drew, who can do weddings. I'm like, aren't weddings bank? And he goes, yeah, I just hate them. And I'm like, well, you should do them. And he's like, no, I like, then why don't you go do PT, Jimmy? And I'm like, oh yeah, good point. Valid point. Because I don't like it. I didn't feel good doing it. I didn't think I was effective. So there I am trying to like give the same advice to someone else. But he's right.
Let's keep developing the idea over future episodes. I don't want to miss out on Dave's topic because this is so important. Okay, so you made it abundantly clear to the client, this is what's going to happen. The client failed to uphold their end of the bargain. It triggered this, okay, now we're going to have this fee. So where are we now, Dave?
Yes. So client was charged $350 for a late cancel, and they emailed my billing person, my admin person that does the charges, and myself, and said, this is ridiculous. The appointments never showed up on my calendar. Your physical therapist, Porus, said it was fine due to my condition. There's a little bit of there was a concussion. There's some emotional stuff going on. Please refund to the best of your ability. That was 17 hours ago. I replied, that's the late cancellation charge that is clearly displayed on page 2 of the 2 simple pages of new client paperwork that you signed. The client replied, Porus, my physical therapist, said it was fine. The appointments were also never sent to me via email. This is a young patient. This is like they're under 30. They're 20 something, I think. Can we make this right, or we can go down a different route, Dave? And I'm like, oh man, because like, okay, so if you're under 30, man, I'm really trying not to be emotional here, but like, and I don't want to spend a lot of money on legal fees, or I know Tony's going to, I need Tony to, be like my Jedi Yoda and be like, it's not worth it. Who cares? And I also don't want it to be like a negative Google review. So I probably have to bite the bullet here. But I really wanted to email back this patient and say, like, I've been in New York City for 10 years. You don't think that I have patients that are lawyers that would do this pro bono and I could outlast you? Like, that's what I really want to say. I want to come over the top. I want to jump off the top turnbuckle, and that's what I want to do. But this is a therapy session that happens to be a public live show. So what do you guys got for me?
Jimmy?
We're never going to get this right? This is like one of those like chicken or egg things. Like, should we have a cancellation fee? And then some people will come in and go, well, why'd they cancel in the first place? It's a communication error. It's like, you can't charge them for this. But at the same token, like if I reserved studio time and didn't show up, you're the studio. You couldn't rent that out because I reserved it. Like, yep. I'll go round and round in circles because like, then you could look and go, well, you charge this, you're going to lose that guy as a client. And then you come back and you go, well, if he's not willing to uphold his end of the bargain, I don't want him as a client. Fire him.
Exactly.
There's no winning. If you over-explain and made this clear to me, I book my haircut, dude, on this app Vagaro, and it happened during like COVID. So now it's great. It was the awkward thing of like showing up and doing that like weird, like, you guys got an opening and you're counting the heads going, who's going with him? It's going to be, now it's like, dude, 10:30, I'm your guy. And it makes me check out and makes me click okay every time. If I book with Rod and I don't show up with Rod gets $40 and Jimmy still looks like he has a mop on his head. I'm okay with it. So, because I'm like, I'm doing the math. How's Rod stay in business? He cuts hair every 27 minutes, sweeps for 3 and reloads. So I get it. So I am now on the camp of, if I have over-explained this, sounds like you did, you owe me money because this is a business, baby. So yeah.
Yeah.
Tony.
I would say, it's one of those deals where I tend to always take the easy way out. Now, not knowing this person on the other side, it's like, you're going to have the individual that they're going to say stuff like that and doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. You as soon as you said, there's other things going on, there's always psychosocial and anxiety and all of these, dynamics going on. You're going to have the occasional, like, over the top who would rather lose tens of thousands of dollars just to prove a point that you were wrong and he was right. All of these things are very real scenarios that we've dealt with, we've faced. You know, obviously the simplest solution would just be to say, okay, let's do this. This is our standard policy. This is what it is. I would be willing to send my physical therapist out for one more session, no extra fee, and you know, leave it at that. Like, what makes it a little easier in that situation is you're not the one doing it. You have a layer of distance between you because it's your therapist going out to do it. It's still going to cost you money, but at least then it's done. You know, the other option is you just say, I'm sorry, unfortunately, this is the policy. My hands are tied. This is the agreement you signed. I'll attach it for you. I will share a personal story, though. So I was just on a phone call about a week ago with an elevator operator company. We have an elevator in our building. We've been a customer of this operator since 2009. We have an informal contract. We thought it was a 20-year contract. We're looking at selling the building. So we're looking at how do we wrap this contract up early. He wasn't going to budge. He had zero interest. I said, look, buddy, I am reaching out to you to say you have no leverage over me. You can't sue me. The LLC is going to dissolve as soon as the building is sold. Like, I want to make this right. I want to help you, but I'm also not going to pay for extra years of service we're not going to deliver. Zero interest on his side. He was like, nope, this is what it is. This is what you commit to. We set the pricing based on a 20-year term. We will not terminate this early. And so it was frustrating. But as the consumer on my side, I'm like, I hang up. I'm like, all right, clearly this isn't going anywhere. We're done. And we ended the conversation. But what am I going to do? I'm not going to get an attorney. I'm not going to fight this. Like, I'll probably just let it go to default. He's not going to get an attorney to try and collect on less money than the attorney's going to cost. But it's just a stupid situation. So what are you thinking about doing?
Yeah. This is the real life one. This is reality TV.
Well, so yeah, nine hours ago was the last email from this patient. And can I ask you guys? I mean, this is a threat. Can we make this right, or we can go down a different route?
Yeah, it's
I mean,
yeah,
that's a threat. That's
Yeah.
a threat. Now, your boy, I do not like threats. I don't make threats. I don't. You know, I'm not trying to cause trouble elsewhere, right? So I like to stay in my lane. But I don't deal well with this. I don't like literally. I just had an attorney that I was just texting today or yesterday, who just had a procedure, and like I have some legal support a text away, a phone call away, to pull some strings if I needed to. But yeah, I mean, but then it's like that's a distraction, right? And I try to come back to like what would Tony do? He's I'm not necessarily saying you're older, Tony. I'm just saying you have a lot more. You have wisdom. You have a few extra laps around the sun. So also, it didn't help that my therapist, real quick, and then we'll get to that. My therapist, Porus, I said, Porus, please send me the text messages, because all my therapists are coached and guided to have a paper trail, a digital paper trail exactly for this. So he said, please send me either the email or the text correspondence with timestamps where you confirm these visits with your client, and then when they late canceled them, right? So now it's crystal clear. We have the receipts. And so he sent me that. And then one of the lines that my therapist said to the client was, oh, it's all right, it's fine, or whatever. And I'm texting my therapist for, like, why did you say this is fine? There's other ways to say, like, I understand you overslept, or you had a headache or a belly ache or whatever the reason. But our new client paperwork says for any medical condition, including COVID or hospitalization or whatever, like it's a late cancel no matter what, right? So it's all that is stipulated in there. Because I'm on mobile, what did David Rubin say?
He's giving you legal advice. There's a lawyer in California named Kim Kardashian that takes cases like this.
Yes. Comment of the day, David. Thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, it's totally up to you. You are 100% in the right to just say, nope, this is the policy. thank you for your business. You're also totally fine to, I will say though, from my understanding, not as an attorney, but somebody who has talked to many attorneys, it doesn't matter what Boris said. It's what was the signed agreement.
Right.
I shared a YouTube video with you guys yesterday, and this very successful real estate person said, people are closing $100 million deals for real estate on text. And he said, one of the reasons is because they don't want to waste time on the phone. Time is too valuable. Maybe we'll talk about that next episode. Second reason is because there's a paper trail. Like, you have a clear evidence of the agreements and what was said and what was signed. Now, I know Boris said that probably on text, but regardless, you're in the right. You're fine. If you don't want to give the money back or give them a session, don't do it. Threats are cheap. I get threats all the time. I don't care about threats. They don't bother me. Half the time they're funny. But I would just say, stick to your guns if you want to, if you feel offended, but don't let your emotion make you make a stupid decision.
Yeah.
There's no wrong or right answer.
Yeah. Type the email, delete the email.
Then delete it.
Yeah. I've worked for people who've typed the email, sent the email, and then it leads to more emails. I'm like, what's your end game here? Yeah, I don't think you can necessarily lose. I think you're going to win either way. It's just, you get to choose which door to walk through. But what are you charging a session?
So this patient, we're charging their out-of-network insurance. It's a really good insurance, but the late cancel fee is $350. So their copay was like $20 per visit through their out-of-network insurance, and their out-of-network pays really, really well. But there were 2 late cancellations. We're talking about just one, but there was actually 4 scheduled visits, late canceled 2. So already that's a red flag. 50%.
No.
So the signed paperwork, size 12 font, very normal size font on 2 pages of new client paperwork, $350 in bold is the late cancellation. And the next sentence describes what's a late cancellation and what's a no-show. And that falls into this.
Listen,
it was a no-show.
Look. Maybe this is a teaser topic. I just traveled, and when you book hotels, I can lock in a rate of $250 a night right now, knowing I could cancel within 24 hours, less than 24 hours due to check-in, like 8 a.m. That's my room, whether I'm in it or not. I can pay, instead of $250 for the room, I could pay $287, and then I can cancel whenever. Like, they have those you've seen that, I'm sure, right? Like, so what they're saying is, like, you're paying for flexibility and the ability to opt out. It's not an accident. I'm sure there's some actuary or numbers guy who's like, people will risk it. Like, have you ever bought trip insurance? I've never spent the extra $27. Oh, look at that. Yes,
I know on airplanes, especially around December or January. Yeah.
But like, they understand. Like, and I don't know if we've talked about this. So this is a good teaser. It's like the hotel model too. Your session is $150, but it's $175. And if you cancel, it's free and you can come back whenever. I don't know.
I got to step out. My parting shot, Dave, do what makes you sleep well at night. That's the bottom line. Like, the money is not going to make a difference in your life. You do what makes you sleep well at night. Guys, I will see you on the next episode.
On Thursday.
I think my parting shot, I'm just going to say, I think I'm going to slow play this. I might reply in the email something like, are you threatening me? ? And like, maybe he can, like, and I'll put the ball back in his court. Does he want to double down? Does he want to, and then we'll see. At the end of the day, I actually don't want a 1-star Google review. That's one thing that I don't want. Like, I don't want a bad review on Google or Yelp, which absolutely this person could do. And so, because of online reviews and how they can affect businesses, or I don't want him to tell 10 of his friends to go post a 1-star Google review and kind of attack a business like that. So
we live in the world
that's
like that.
The leverage that this person might have, in my mind. But at the same time, I agree with Tony. Like, the money doesn't matter either way. So it's probably not worth it. Although, I'm a fighter. I'm a lover and a fighter, but like, I'm totally cool with fighting this and still sleeping well. So
yeah.
What do you got, Jimmy?
I agree. All right. So my parting shot was the post that I shared this morning, and I'll share it here on LinkedIn. I did one of those. I did a fake one. It's like, I turned 46 today. Here are 46 lessons I've learned. Have you seen posts like this? And then people will do like 46 different one-liners, like, for attention. Mine essentially is this. Number one, you don't need another list. Number 2, go live some valuable lessons instead of reading lists from idiots like me on LinkedIn. But number 3, thank a veteran today. There's a lot of talk about veterans today in the last few weeks with the government shutdown, active service women and men. Thank a veteran today and thank every day. Dave Kittle for Tony Maritato. Make sure you follow all the things on socials, and we'll see you guys back on Thursday. Thanks for listening.